The sound that breaks a person isn't a gunshot or a car crash. Sometimes it's a whisper. My sister's whisper, specifically, floating from her perfect, granite countertop kitchen. I just worry about her, Chloe says. Her voice is syrupy with fake concern. I'm standing in the hallway, frozen. I was just coming back from the bathroom. Her party is in full swing in the backyard, all laughter and clinking glasses. But in here, the air is cold. Worrying doesn't pay her rent, honey, her husband, Mark, replies. I can practically hear his smirk. She's 32, still messing around with those little drawings. It's a hobby, not a career. A hobby? I've spent 10 years honing my craft as a graphic designer. I've built a freelance business from nothing, working 70-hour weeks. It's her art, Chloe says a little weaker, a token defense. It's a pipe dream, Mark scoffs, and we're the ones who will have to pick up the pieces when it all falls apart, again. My breath catches in my throat, my hand is still on the doorframe, my knuckles are white. Chloe sighs. It's a theatrical, put-upon sound. I know, bless her heart, she tries, but she's just not built for the real world. The real world. My world for the last 6 weeks has been anything but real. It's been a secret so massive, so life-altering, that I feel like I'm living in a different dimension. A dimension where my bank account balance has 8 zeros in it. A dimension where $47 million sits silently, waiting for me. And in this dimension, I can hear exactly what my family really thinks of me when they think I'm not listening. They think I'm a failure, a charity case in the making. A small, bitter smile touches my lips. They have no idea, but they're about to. Because I've decided to put them all to the test. Hey everyone, thanks for listening. I'm telling this story from my apartment where it all started. Comment your city so I can see where you're all watching from. My life before the ticket was beige. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment that always smells faintly of my neighbor's cooking. My days are a blur of client emails, design revisions, and chasing invoices. I'm good at what I do. My clients are happy, but I've never landed the big contract, the one that would let me finally breathe. My family dynamic is a delicate, unspoken hierarchy. Chloe is the golden child. She married Mark, a man with a sensible job in finance. They have the mortgage, the 2 cars, and the annual vacation photos they post all over social media. She's the success story. My younger brother, Leo, is the charming disaster. He's a musician, or an entrepreneur, or a consultant, depending on the week. He's always got a brilliant new scheme that just needs a little seed money. He's the project. And me, I'm Maya, the quiet one, the reliable one, the one who house sits for free, who designs their Christmas cards for a family discount, who listens to everyone's problems and never mentions her own. I'm the wallpaper. 6 weeks ago, on a particularly bleak Tuesday, I was standing in line at a corner store. An invoice I was counting on was 30 days late. My landlord had just sent a gentle reminder about rent. I had $73 to my name. I bought a carton of milk, a loaf of bread, and on a whim, a desperate what-the-hell whim, a lottery ticket. I'd never bought one before. It felt like throwing $2 into the wind. I forgot about it until Saturday night. I was eating ramen over my sink when the numbers flashed on the TV screen in the background. My spoon clattered into the sink. I checked the ticket, I checked it again, and again. I downloaded the lottery app and scanned the barcode. Congratulations, you are a jackpot winner, $47 million. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I just sat down on my floor, the little piece of paper trembling in my hand. It felt like a glitch in the universe. The next few weeks were a blur of secret phone calls, meetings with stoic-faced lawyers and financial advisors. I followed their advice to the letter. We set up a trust to claim the prize anonymously. We created layers of protection. No one, they stressed, could know, not yet. Money doesn't change you, my main advisor, a kind older woman named Alina, told me. It just makes you more of who you already are, and it reveals the people around you for who they already are. Her words echoed in my ears as I stood in Chloe's hallway. It reveals the people around you for who they already are. Mark's voice, we're the ones who will have to pick up the pieces. Chloe's voice, she's just not built for the real world. The hurt was a sharp physical pain, but underneath it something else was taking root, a cold, hard clarity. For my entire life, I've been the giver. I've given my time, my energy, my talent. I've propped them up, listened to their dramas, and shrunk myself to make them feel bigger. Now, I was going to ask for something back. Not because I needed it, but because I needed to know. The plan formed in my mind, simple and brutal. I have a dream I've nursed for years to open my own creative agency. A small studio where I could collaborate with other artists, take on passion projects, and build something real. It's the dream Mark called a pipe dream. I was going to ask my family to help me fund it. I decided on the amount, $10,000. It's a lot of money, enough to be a real sacrifice for them, a real show of faith. But to me, with $47 million in the bank, it was nothing. It was the price of admission to the truth. I would ask Chloe and Mark first, then Leo, then my mom. One question, one request. A test of character, let the games begin. The first test, Chloe and Mark. I call Chloe the next day. Hey, can I take you and Mark out for coffee this week? I have something I want to run by you guys. Oh, sure, she sounds surprised. I'm usually the one waiting for an invitation. Is everything okay? The undertone is clear. Are you in some kind of trouble? Everything's great, I lie smoothly. Just an exciting new opportunity. We meet at a sleek, minimalist coffee shop in their neighborhood. The kind of place where a single cup of coffee costs $8 and comes with a flavor profile card. Mark is already tapping away on his phone when I arrive. Chloe gives me an air kiss that doesn't quite land on my cheek. So, Mark says, not looking up from his screen, what's the big opportunity, Maya? I take a deep breath. I've rehearsed this. Well, I start, trying to inject my voice with enthusiasm. I've been working on a business plan, for years really. I want to finally open my own design studio, a proper agency. Chloe's smile is tight. Oh, honey, that's ambitious. It's not a compliment. I know, but I've found the perfect small office space for rent. It's a great deal. And I've already got 2 potential clients lined up who would give me retainers. The thing is, to secure the lease and get the basic equipment, I need some startup capital. I let the words hang in the air. Mark finally looks up, his eyes analytical and cold. Startup capital, how much are we talking about? Here it is. $10,000, I say, keeping my voice steady. I'm looking for a loan. I've already drafted a repayment plan with interest. I'd be able to start paying it back within 6 months. Silence. A long, uncomfortable silence. Chloe stirs her latte, the tiny spoon clinking against the ceramic. Mark leans back, steepling his fingers. He looks like a judge about to deliver a verdict. Maya, he begins, his voice dripping with condescension. Let me give you some real-world advice. You don't have any business experience. You've been a freelancer, which is fine for a hobby, but running an agency? You're talking about payroll, insurance, taxes, marketing. I've researched all of that, I interrupt, my voice sharper than I intend. I have a 40-page business plan. He waves a dismissive hand. A plan is just paper. The market is saturated with little agencies like that. 90% of them fail within the first year. It would be financially irresponsible of us to invest in something with that high a probability of failure. Invest, I asked for a loan. I'm not asking for an investment, I say, my cheeks flushing with heat. I'm asking my family for help, to believe in me. I look at Chloe, my sister. Her eyes dart away, unable to meet mine. We do believe in you, sweetie, she says, her voice soft and placating. We believe in your talent, but Mark is right. It's just so risky. Have you thought about maybe getting a certificate in project management or taking an online business course? That would be a much safer way to build your skills. They aren't saying no. They're telling me I'm not good enough. that my dream is a foolish fantasy. They're regurgitating the exact conversation I overheard in their kitchen. The fake kindness is so much worse than a simple no. They're trying to manage my disappointment, to frame their rejection as a favor to me. So the answer is no, I state, my voice flat. Mark nods, a look of grim satisfaction on his face. It's for your own good. We can't, in good conscience, enable a bad financial decision. Right, I say, picking up my purse. The coffee I ordered sits untouched. I understand, thanks for the advice. I walk out of the coffee shop, my head held high. I don't let the tears fall until I'm back in my car. It's not about the money. It was never about the money. It's the fact that they looked at my dream, the most vulnerable part of me, and they called it a liability. Test 1, a spectacular failure. What would you do in my shoes right now? Would you stop the tests and just walk away, or would you see it through to the end? What would you do? The second test, Leo. I give myself a day to recover before I call Leo. He's harder to pin down. He doesn't answer my first 2 calls. I finally get him on the 3rd try. Maya, hey, what's up? He sounds like he's jogging. There's music blasting in the background. Hey Leo, got a minute? I wanted to ask you something. Yeah, shoot. I'm just heading to a meeting with this venture capitalist. Huge stuff, about to change the game. Every meeting Leo has is about to change the game. Nothing has ever changed. It's about my design work, I say, getting straight to it. I'm finally taking the leap, starting my own agency. Whoa, no way, that's awesome, he says, and for a second I feel a flicker of hope. He sounds genuinely excited. My sister, the big shot CEO. Hardly, I laugh, feeling a little lighter. But I'm trying. Listen, the reason I'm calling is I'm trying to pull together some startup funds. To get an office, you know? I was wondering if you'd be in a position to maybe loan me some money. The jogging sounds stop. A loan from me? He lets out a short, incredulous laugh. Maya, you know I'm perpetually pre-revenue. I'm the one who's supposed to hit you up. I know it's a long shot, I say. I'm asking for 10,000. 10 grand, Hugh, he whistles. Look, I'd love to help, sis, you know I would, but I'm tapped, completely. This VC meeting is my Hail Mary. Okay, I understand. I had to ask. I feel the familiar weight of disappointment settling in. But hey, he says, his voice suddenly shifting, getting slick and conspiratorial. This is actually perfect timing. Forget the office space. That's old school thinking. Overhead is a killer. What do you mean? My new venture, he says, his voice buzzing with energy. It's a decentralized creative network, a Web3 platform for artists to monetize their work directly using crypto. It's like a digital agency, but with no walls. Revolutionary. I have no idea what he's talking about. It sounds like a string of buzzwords he read online. Leo, I'm a graphic designer. I need a place to meet clients, a professional setup. No, you're thinking small, he insists. We could be partners. You bring the creative talent, I bring the business vision. Forget your 10 grand ask. We could raise $1 million in a seed round. All I need is about 5 grand to get the prototype built by this developer I know in another country. I stop walking. I'm in the middle of a park. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Wait, I say slowly. Are you asking me for money? I'm not asking. I'm offering you an opportunity to get in on the ground floor. Your $10,000 problem becomes our $1 million solution. You just need to find $5,000 to make it happen. He has, with breathtaking selfishness, taken my request for help and turned it into a sales pitch for his own half-baked scheme. He didn't just say no. He tried to get money out of me, the very person who was asking for help. The flicker of hope I felt dies instantly, replaced by a cold, hard knot in my stomach. He doesn't see me. He sees an angle, an opportunity, a potential investor for his latest fantasy. Leo, I say, my voice dangerously calm, I don't have $5,000. I'm asking for a loan because I have nothing. Ah, the energy deflates from his voice. Well, that's a shame. You're missing out, big time. He sounds annoyed, like I've wasted his time. Listen, I gotta run, my VC is waiting, we'll talk. He hangs up before I can say another word. I stare at my phone, the silence of the park ringing in my ears. He didn't just fail the test, he tried to cheat off my paper. Test 2, an abysmal, infuriating failure. The third test, Mom. This is the one I'm dreading the most. My mom, Sarah, is the heart of our family. Or at least, she's supposed to be. She's a gentle soul who avoids conflict at all costs. Her love is a soft, comforting blanket, but it's never been a shield. It's never been strong enough to stand up to Chloe's judgment or Leo's manipulations. I go to her house on a Sunday afternoon, the house I grew up in. It smells like cinnamon and old books. She hugs me tightly at the door. Maya, sweetie, it's so good to see you, you don't call enough. We sit at the kitchen table, the same table where I did my homework as a kid. She pours me a cup of tea. So, what's on your mind? She asks, her eyes kind. You sounded serious on the phone. I take a sip of tea, the warmth doing nothing to calm the nerves in my stomach. I lay out the same plan I told Chloe and Mark. I talk about the studio, the clients, the dream I've held for so long. She listens patiently, nodding. Her smile is encouraging. Oh, Maya, that sounds wonderful, she says when I'm finished. Your own studio, just like you used to talk about when you were a little girl, drawing all over the walls. My heart swells. This is what I was hoping for, the unconditional support, the belief. It is, I say, smiling back, but it's a big step, and I need a bit of help to get it off the ground. I take a deep breath. I'm trying to get a loan for $10,000. I was hoping you might be able to help. Her smile falters, just a little, but I see it. The light in her eyes dims. She looks down at her hands, twisting a napkin. Oh, she says, the word is small, frail. 10,000, that's a lot of money, dear. I know it is, Mom. I have a repayment plan. I'd treat it like a formal loan with interest and everything. She's quiet for a long time. I can see a war playing out behind her eyes. The desire to help me versus a lifetime of being influenced by her other children. I did talk to Chloe the other day, she says finally, her voice barely a whisper. My blood runs cold. She called you after I met with her. Mom nods, still not looking at me. She was just concerned. She said Mark thinks it's a very risky venture, that you don't have the business background. Of course, Chloe ran straight to Mom to poison the well, to frame her rejection as a wise, protective measure and paint me as a reckless child. What do you think, Mom? I ask, my voice quiet but firm. Forget what Chloe and Mark think. Do you believe I can do this? This is the real test, not about the money, about her faith in me. Tears well up in her eyes. Of course I do, sweetie. I believe in you. It's just money has been tight, and your father's pension isn't what it used to be. She gets up and walks over to a ceramic jar on the counter, the one labeled Rainy Day Fund. She reaches inside and pulls out a thin stack of bills. She comes back to the table and pushes them across to me. I can't do 10,000, she says, her voice thick with emotion. But here's $500 for your art supplies to keep the dream alive. I stare at the cash on the table. 5 crumpled $100 bills. It's a pat on the head. A consolation prize. It's the money you give a kid for their lemonade stand, not the money you give your adult daughter to build a business. It's her saying, I love you, but I don't believe in you. Not really. Not enough to take a real risk. The hurt is deeper than anything I felt with Chloe or Leo. This is a failure of faith from the one person who was supposed to have it unconditionally. Thanks, Mom, I say, my voice hollow. I push the money back towards her. I can't take this. It was all or nothing. I stand up, my chair scraping against the linoleum floor. I should go. Maya, wait. But I can't. I walk out, leaving her sitting at the table with her well-intentioned, soul-crushing charity. 3 tests, 3 failures, each one worse than the last. There's only one person left to ask, and honestly, I don't know why I'm even bothering. The final test, Aunt Carol. My Aunt Carol is my mom's older sister, the family black sheep. She never married, she never had kids. She worked as a librarian her whole life and lives in a tiny, rent-controlled apartment overflowing with books and plants. Chloe and Mark think she's eccentric. Leo thinks she's a broke old spinster. My mom just thinks she's lonely. But Aunt Carol was the one who bought me my first professional set of drawing pencils. She was the one who framed my childish sketches and hung them on her walls. She never once told me to be more practical. I visit her the next evening. Her apartment smells like old paper and brewing tea. She opens the door with a huge smile. "Maya, what a surprise. Come in, come in." She's wearing a paint-splattered cardigan, and her gray hair is tied up in a messy bun. She pours me a cup of herbal tea that tastes like flowers. We talk for a while about books, about the pesky squirrels on her fire escape, about everything and nothing. It's easy. It's always been easy with her. Finally, I take the plunge. I tell her about the studio. I brace myself for the pity, for the gentle dismissal. But that's not what happens. Her eyes light up, they sparkle. "A studio," she exclaims, clapping her hands together. "Maya, that is the most wonderful idea I've ever heard. It's about time." There's no hesitation, no but, just pure unadulterated excitement, for me. "You think so?" I ask, my voice small. "Think so? I know so. I've been waiting for you to do this for 20 years. You have a gift, my girl, a real gift. The world needs to see it." I feel a lump forming in my throat. "There's just one problem," I say, my voice wavering. "I need startup capital, $10,000. Her face falls slightly. "Oh dear, I wish I could just write you a check. You know I would in a heartbeat, but a librarian's pension is exactly a gold mine." "I know," I say, looking down at my cup. "It's okay, I didn't really expect." "Nonsense," she cuts me off. She gets up and toddles over to an old wooden desk in the corner. She rummages through a drawer and pulls out a small, worn, blue passbook, a bank savings book. She sits back down and opens it on the table between us. "This is my emergency fund," she says, her finger tracing a line of numbers. "I've been saving it for years, in case my roof caves in or I break a hip." She pushes the book towards me. The final balance, written in faded ink, is $1,247. "It's not 10,000, she says, her eyes meeting mine. They are clear and full of conviction. "But it's yours, all of it, you take it." I stare at her, speechless. She's offering me everything she has, her entire safety net. "Carol, no, I can't. That's your emergency money." "This is an emergency," she insists, pushing the book back towards me. "A dream emergency. It's an emergency when a brilliant young woman like you doesn't have the tools she needs to build her own future." Tears are streaming down my face now. Hot, silent tears, not of sadness or hurt, but of overwhelming gratitude. One person passed the test, and she didn't just pass, she aced it. She didn't have the money, but she offered me something so much more valuable. Everything she had, all her faith. I finally know who my real family is. I'm sitting in my apartment now. The city lights are twinkling outside my window. The results of my experiment are in. The data is collected. Chloe and Mark saw a bad investment. Leo saw a business opportunity for himself. My mom saw a risky hobby that needed a little pocket money. And Aunt Carol, she saw a dream worth funding, even if it cost her everything. Eleanor was right. The money didn't change me. It just held up a mirror to the people around me. And I don't like what I see. My phone feels heavy in my hand. I open up a group chat, the one with Mom, Chloe, and Leo. My thumbs move across the screen. "Family dinner at my place on Saturday night. Please come. I have some very important news to share." The replies come in almost immediately. "Chloe, of course. Should we bring something?" "Leo, I'm there. Hope the news is that you found that $5,000 for our project." "Mom, that sounds lovely, dear. Can't wait." They have no idea what's coming. They think it's just little old Maya, the reliable wallpaper, hosting a dinner. They don't know they're about to walk into a reckoning. I have $47 million in my name. I have a list of everyone who failed my test. And I have one person who proved her love and loyalty beyond a shadow of a doubt. My finger hovers over my phone. I have a decision to make. Do I tell them the whole truth? The lottery, the money, the test, everything? Or is there another way to handle this? Should I tell them the truth, yes or no? Last time, I told you how I won $47 million and kept it a secret. I tested my family by asking for a small loan to start my dream business, and one by one, they all revealed their true colors, seeing me as a failure, a risk, or an opportunity for themselves. Only my Aunt Carol, the one with the least to give, offered me everything she had. Now, I've invited my family to dinner, and they have no idea I'm about to change our lives forever. The doorbell rings at 7 o'clock sharp. My apartment, which usually feels cozy, suddenly feels claustrophobically small. I've cooked a simple lasagna, the same dish I've been making for family get-togethers for years. It's comfort food. A taste of the old me, the Maya they think they know. I open the door. Chloe and Mark stand there, a bottle of $2 wine in Mark's hand. It's a passive-aggressive masterpiece. A gift that says, "This is all we think you can appreciate." "Smells homey," Chloe says, stepping inside and looking around my living room like she's inspecting it for dust. "It's a lasagna," I say, taking the bottle from Mark with a polite smile. "Thanks for this." Leo arrives a few minutes later, all kinetic energy and fake swagger. He kisses my cheek and whispers, "So, did you scrape together that $5,000 for us?" "We'll talk later, Leo," I say, steering him towards the living room. Finally, my mom arrives. She looks nervous, her eyes full of a sad, apologetic light. She hugs me a little too long, as if trying to physically infuse the support she couldn't offer financially. "It's so nice of you to do this, sweetie," she says. We make small talk over dinner. It's excruciating. Mark talks about a big deal he closed at his firm. Chloe complains about the contractor redoing their master bathroom. Leo goes on and on about his revolutionary Web3 platform. They talk at me, not to me. They perform their lives, assuming I am the quiet, adoring audience I have always been. I let them. I nod. I smile. I refill their water glasses. I am gathering the last little bits of data, observing the final moments of the world as it was. Finally, there's a lull in the conversation. Chloe dabs her mouth with a napkin and gives me a condescendingly warm smile. "So, Maya, you said you had big news for us. Did you decide to take that project management course? I can send you a link." This is it, the opening. I take a slow, deliberate sip of water. The clinking of forks and knives stops. All eyes are on me. "Actually," I begin, my voice calm and even. "My news is about the design studio I told you all about." Mark sighs a barely audible puff of air. "Here we go again," his expression says, "the pipe dream." "I wanted to thank you all for your honesty when I came to you for help," I continue, looking each of them in the eye. "It was very illuminating." I turn to Chloe and Mark first. "You told me it would be financially irresponsible to lend me the money, that it was for my own good. You saw me as a bad investment." Mark opens his mouth to respond, probably to double down on his sound advice, but I don't let him. I turn to Leo. "You didn't have any money to lend, which is fine, but you immediately saw my request as an opportunity to pitch me on your own idea and ask me for money. You saw me as an angle to be played." Leo shrinks back in his chair, a guilty flush creeping up his neck. Finally, I look at my mom. Her eyes are wide. "And Mom," I say, my voice softening just a little, "you offered me $500 for art supplies. You saw my life's dream as a hobby that needed a little pocket money." The silence in the room is thick and heavy. It's no longer a comfortable family dinner. It's an appraisal, and they are the ones being appraised. "I don't understand, Maya," my mom says, her voice trembling. "Are you trying to hurt us?" "No," I say, my voice clear and strong. "I'm trying to tell you the truth. For my entire life, I have been what you all needed me to be. the quiet one, the reliable one, the free in-house designer, the built-in babysitter, the audience. I lean forward slightly. I came to you all with the most important dream I've ever had, asking for one thing, faith, and none of you could give it to me. Now, Maya, that's not fair, Chloe starts, her voice taking on a sharp, defensive edge. We were just being practical. Your practicality felt like pity, I say, cutting her off. But it's okay, I don't need the loan anymore. A look of relief washes over their faces. They think the crisis has been averted. They think I've given up. Oh, good, Mark says with a satisfied nod. I'm glad you came to your senses. I give him a small, cold smile. I didn't give up. I found another investor, one who believes in the project wholeheartedly, one who made the full $10,000 ask seem like nothing. Who, Leo asks, leaning forward, suddenly interested. Who gave you 10 grand? The investor, I say, pausing for effect as I stand up from the table, is me. They stare at me, confused. I don't understand, my mom says. 6 weeks ago, I announce, my voice echoing in the small apartment, I bought a lottery ticket, and I won. The jackpot. After taxes, the payout was $47 million. Dead silence. You could hear a pin drop. Forks are frozen halfway to mouths. Chloe's face is a mask of disbelief. Mark looks like he's been slapped. Leo's jaw is literally hanging open. My mom just stares at me, her face pale. You're joking, Chloe finally sputters. That's not funny, Maya. Do I look like I'm joking? I ask. I walk over to my bag, pull out a file folder, and slide a notarized document across the table. It's a statement of assets from my financial advisor. They can't miss the number at the bottom, $47,108,241.16. Mark snatches it, his eyes scanning the page frantically. He looks at me, then back at the paper. His face goes from disbelief to shock, and then to a strange, curdled form of awe. It's real, he whispers. Just then, the doorbell rings again, cutting through the thick, stunned silence. Excuse me, I say, walking to the door. I open it, and there stands Aunt Carol, holding a potted orchid. Maya, I hope I'm not too late, she says, smiling. I brought you a little something for your new studio, for good luck. I invited her for dessert. I told her it was a celebration. I usher her in. My family is still sitting at the table, completely shell-shocked. Aunt Carol, I say, my voice warm and genuine for the first time all night. You're right on time. Everyone, Carol is here. They all turn to look at her, their expressions a mixture of confusion and shock. Carol looks from their faces to mine, suddenly sensing the tension. Is everything all right? She asks quietly. Everything is perfect, I say, taking the orchid from her and placing it on the counter. I turn back to my stunned family. There's one more part to this story, I say, my voice ringing with clarity. When I was conducting my experiment, I made one last stop. I walk over and put my hand on Aunt Carol's shoulder. She looks up at me, puzzled. I asked Aunt Carol for the same $10,000 loan. And do you know what she did? She didn't have it. She has a librarian's pension and a small apartment filled with books. But she went to her desk, and she pulled out her savings passbook for her emergency fund. The money she's saved her entire life in case she breaks a hip. I look at my mother, at Chloe, at Leo. She offered me everything she had, $1,247, without a moment of hesitation. She didn't call it a risk. She called it a dream emergency. Aunt Carol looks embarrassed. Maya, you didn't have to. Yes, I say, squeezing her shoulder. I did, because tonight is about the truth. The truth is hanging in the air now, undeniable and brutal. The contrast between their cynical calculations and her selfless generosity. My family can't meet my eyes. They can't meet hers. They just stare at their plates, the half-eaten lasagna growing cold. The test is over, and now it's time for the consequences. I didn't do this to shame you, I lie. I absolutely did. I did this to show you a mirror, and now that we all see the truth, things are going to be different. I look at Chloe and Mark. My time and my talent are no longer free. The days of me designing your company's holiday cards for a bottle of wine are over. The days of me house-sitting for you so you can go to the Caribbean are over. My hourly rate is now $500. I'll be sending you an invoice for the last project I did for you, by the way. Chloe flinches as if I'd thrown water on her. Mark's face is a thundercloud. They understand this language, the language of money and transactions. I've redefined my value in terms they can't argue with. Next, I turn to Leo. He's been looking at me with a desperate, calculating gleam in his eye since I said the number 47 million. Leo, I say, my voice firm, I am not your partner. I am not your investor. I will not be funding your Web3 crypto platform or any other scheme you dream up. The Bank of Maya, the one you've been borrowing from with no intention of ever paying back, is closed. Permanently. If you want to be a businessman, it's time you learned how to build something on your own, from the ground up. The hope in his eyes dies. He slumps in his chair, defeated. He knows this isn't a negotiation. I look at my mom. This is the hardest part. Tears are streaming down her face. Mom, I say, my voice softening, I love you, but your love has to come with faith. It can't be a watered-down version of Chloe's opinions. I don't want your pity and I don't need your pocket money. I need you to be my mom, to believe in me even if no one else does. That's the only thing I will ever ask of you again. She nods, unable to speak, covering her mouth with her hand. Now for the final part, the redistribution. I turn to Aunt Carol, who has been watching all of this with a bewildered expression. I take her hand. Carol, I say, my voice filled with all the gratitude in my heart. You passed the test. You showed me what family and faith really mean. So, I'm not just paying you back the $1,200 you offered me. I take a deep breath. This is the part I've been looking forward to the most. First, tomorrow morning, a real estate agent is going to call you. She's going to help you find a new home. A condo, a house, whatever you want, wherever you want. I'm buying it for you. Cash. Carol's eyes widen. Maya, no, I could. You can, and you will, I say gently. Second, my financial advisor has already set up a trust fund in your name. You will never, ever have to worry about a broken hip or a leaky roof or the price of groceries ever again. You're retired from worrying, effective immediately. Her jaw is trembling. She is utterly speechless. And third, I say, smiling broadly, my new agency, it's called the Carol Creative, and I'd be honored if you would accept a position on the board as our official chief morale officer. It comes with a very nice salary and requires you to do nothing but drink tea and tell me if my designs are any good. The dam breaks. Aunt Carol starts to cry, but this time they are tears of pure, unadulterated joy. She throws her arms around me and hugs me tightly. Thank you, she whispers into my shoulder. Oh, Maya, thank you. Over her shoulder, I see them, my family, staring. Their faces are a portrait of shock, regret, and envy. They are watching the life they could have been a part of, the generosity they could have shared in, being given to someone else. That is my quiet revenge, not cutting them out, but forcing them to watch as I reward the one person who truly deserved it. They leave soon after that. There are no hugs, no cheerful goodbyes, just a string of mumbled, awkward words as they shuffle out my door and back into their old lives, which now seems so much smaller. The power dynamic of our entire family has been fractured, and we all know it can never be put back together in the same way. When they're gone, it's just me and Aunt Carol in the quiet apartment. She looks at me, her eyes still wet with tears. Are you sure about all this, Maya? It's too much. It's not enough, I say, taking her hand. You offered me everything when you had nothing. This is the very least I can do. We don't talk about the money again. We clean up the dinner dishes together, and she tells me stories about when I was a little girl. We talk about the future, about the beautiful things we're going to build. A few weeks later, I'm standing in the middle of a large, empty commercial space downtown. Sunlight is streaming through the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. The keys to the front door feel solid and real in my hand. This is it, my studio, the Carol Creative. The echo of my family's doubt is gone. The hurt, the anger, it's all faded. It no longer has any power over me. I bought my own dream. I invested in myself. I look out the window at the bustling city below. My phone buzzes in my pocket. It's a picture message from Aunt Carol. It's her, standing on the balcony of a beautiful new condo overlooking the ocean, a huge, joyful smile on her face. She's holding up a teacup in a toast. I smile back at the picture. I feel a sense of peace settle over me, deep and profound. The $47 million didn't buy me happiness. It bought me clarity. It bought me the truth. And it bought me the freedom to build a new life, surrounded only by the people who believe. Thank you all for listening to my story. It's been a crazy journey, but I've never felt more like myself. Now it's your turn. Rate the story 0-10. I can't wait to read your comments.